The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show.
Welcome back, everybody. It is Friday, December 17th, 2021. I am joined, as always on Fridays, by none other than Pastor Anthony Galloway. DJ Exclusive is not here. He will be back on Monday. He had a fabulous birthday celebration on somebody's beach with somebody's son, drinking some libations. But we love that brother, and he's going to be back on Monday. So shout out to him. Pastor Galloway, man, I just took a coffee break and went and talked to my wife. And I was like, man, I just love having these conversations with Pastor Galloway on Fridays because we talk about science. Now we're talking about science. We're talking about God and racism. And then I was like, you know what? I guess all that can kind of combine into Afrofuturism. Tell me where I should start. I know I'm a sci-fi fan. I'm a Black history fan. But I honestly don't have a real depth in terms of Afrofuturism. Where do we begin?
All right. So I love this because before the pandemic, me and my nerd friends and families, in fact, we're having a LAN party playing World of Warcraft later on tonight with them. And I'm so excited for it. But that's how much of a nerd I am.
I might want to come. Do y'all play Halo?
Yeah, the new one is off the chain. So
okay, meet you there.
I was at a panel at C2E2. This is the Chicago Comic-Con. And so we're at McCormick Place, and I walk in with a couple of my friends, and we sit down in this panel, and we realize that it's an Afrofuturism panel. And we didn't realize that on that panel would be Afua Richardson, amazing comic artist, the woman who writes the Ironheart. It's this Black Iron Man, variant.
Yes.
And there's and DMC from Run DMC. Like they're all sitting in this panel, and we're sitting there holding each other like, I didn't know that these are all those people who are going to be here. We're like, geeking out. And Afua Richardson, the sister who writes Ironheart, said, let's think of the elements of Afrofuturism, right? Futurism is a post-apocalyptic thing. What is the thing that happens after that cataclysm, goes down? And so if we use that as use that there, then Black folks, we have experienced a cataclysm. We experienced the slave trade that come across. So everything written after that is imagining a future that's, because the root has already been disrupted. It blew our minds. Because now I'm looking at Walter Johnson and Octavia Butler. We're gonna come back to her in a second. In Toni Morrison, all of these folks, even if they are writing in the past, are actually writing some interesting Afrofuturistic spaces, imagining a space in this new world after we've had that cataclysm. Blew my mind, right? And so when we think about Afrofuturism, it's this thing that imagines what it looks like, because so many other sci-fi examples seem to just omit Black folks out of future space.
For real.
And so, on one side, you say, I feel good because, I don't have to worry about living through and surviving in a post-apocalyptic space. Another space that says, oh man, that means that we got X'd out in the apocalypse, huh? So there's a lot of interesting conversations and dialogues that can go along that way. If we've experienced Afrofuturism by looking at Wakanda, right? Which has its birth in a very interesting year, 1966. Simultaneously, you have Jack Kirby and Stan Lee, renaming Cold Tiger Black Panther, because Cold Tiger sucks as a superhero name, and Black Panther makes its first appearance in the Fantastic Four run, where he beats the Fantastic Four, and the only thing that messes up his plan is that they brought a native friend with no superpowers but indigenous powers who unraveled the whole thing. It's a wonderful.
Wow, I have not read that one. Wow.
Look at the first appearance of Black Panther. But then later that they also got there because of the Lord County Freedom Organization with Stokely Carmichael in Alabama, who was a multiracial party that were trying to deal with the fact that literacy rates were so low that you had to have a picture in the voting block, and so you knew who to vote for in this particular area. And when they chose the picture, they arrived at the Black Panther as their picture. So the Black Panther Party, the Lord County Freedom Organization, Stan Lee and Jack Kirby read this article in Time Magazine, and they're like, oh, maybe that's a good name for it. And then later that same year, the work in Oakland for the political party Black Panther started, all in the same year.
why do you know all this?
This is what nerddom does. So
I'm a nerd, but I'm more of a Star Trek nerd, and I hate that I missed that I'm not as well versed in Afrofuturism. But please, come on, continue to teach us.
Well, just so now the question becomes, when does it become Afrofuturism? Because the first Black writers of Black Panther series after Jungle Action comic release in '72. You have Christopher Priest in the '90s, first Black comic artist to lead to lead in the game, and so that's where I would say you start to see some of the elements of what we would call Afrofuturism in the style of your Octavia Butler, who wrote Kindred. Octavia Butler is an absolute Afrofuturist. Take a look at that. I would say that Ralph Ellison is an Afrofuturist when he wrote Invisible Man, right? Because it's imagining this world in this future context, right? And so taking a look at imagining a future world, post-apocalyptic, whatever you want to call it, that has us, that speaks to us, that has elements of us as part of the way that we operate. There's a really interesting piece of Star Trek Deep Space Nine, since you're a Star Trek fan, right? Where you have my least favorite captain, but one of most favorite storylines, because they're dealing with a religious a religious orthodoxy as part of its storyline, and having to navigate that in a multi-racial, multi-special world space that actually is inclusive of Black folks. You look around Deep Space Nine, you're going to see us. And so I think there's some really interesting ways in which Afrofuturism has brought in African wisdom and learning and things like that into the zeitgeist. If only the Matrix would have done it a little bit more. But I digress, because the new
I found my tribe, man. I found my tribe. I knew we were kindred spirits in terms of faith and ecumenical coexistence. And but I didn't know you were such a nerd, as deep of a nerd as I am. I think I had to reserve the Afrofuturism for the 40s when I got to my 40s because of all the other stuff that, I'm doing in my life. Because, man, I'm about to dig in as soon as this episode is over. That said, let me shift gears a little bit so I can do the work. We got to get back to work, man. My producer is going to yell at me in a minute. But, man, this is the best show ever. No, I want to start with Jim Jordan. And it's come to light that Jim Jordan, who Republicans wanted to be on the January 6th committee. Everybody remembers January 6th, the insurrectionist terrorist event. Jim Jordan is a Republican congressman from Ohio. They wanted to put Jim Jordan on the committee investigating January 6th. Well, it's come to light that he messaged Mark Meadows on January 5th with plans for how Vice President Pence could overturn the election. So we're literally in the case, and we're going to listen to this clip, the case where a sitting representative, Republican representative, Jim Jordan, who has his own background that we should discuss, wanted to be appointed to the committee investigating the very thing he was allegedly complicit with. Let's take a listen into this clip.
Process of holding Meadows in contempt of Congress, it revealed a lot, including the remarkable fact that Congressman Jim Jordan, the man who's next in line to chair the Judiciary Committee if Republicans take the House, was himself pushing a plan to overturn the election. And just to remind you, here's the relevant portion of the text he forwarded to Mark Meadows.
I want to display just a few of the message he received from people in Congress. The committee is not naming these lawmakers at this time as our investigation is ongoing. If we could cue the first graphic. This one reads, on January 6, 2021, Vice President Mike Pence, as President of the Senate, should call out all electoral votes that he believes are unconstitutional as no electoral votes at all. You can see why this is so critical to ask Mr. Meadows about.
Now, yesterday, Congressman Jordan revealed that he was the one who sent that to Meadows. So the guy touting the very same playbook the former president was pushing Mike Pence to spearhead, the ranking member of the House Judiciary Committee, fronting for a legal fig leaf to cover an attempted coup. The same Jim Jordan, who's rarely at a loss for words unless the question concerns his conversations with the former president that day, something you would think he might remember.
On January 6th, did you speak with him before, during, or after the Capitol was attacked?
I'd have to go. I spoke with him that day after. I think after. I don't know if I spoke with him in the morning or not. I just don't know. I'd have to go back and I don't know that when those conversations happen. But what I know is I spoke with him all the time.
Amazingly, however, he wanted to be on the committee. House Speaker Pelosi said no, and ever since, including in this week's contempt vote against Mark Meadows, House Republicans have been crying foul.
I'm sorry for laughing at a serious story like this, but did Jim Jordan not strike you as one of your kids who's like, no, they caught, and they're like, well, actually,
get out of my head. Get out of my head. I was thinking of my son. I was thinking of my son. When did you take care of something? And I was also laughing at the fact that he was standing, hands on the hips with the football in the back, the flag in there, you got the pictures on there, he's got the whole background staged exactly perfectly, and then you get hit with the question that you wasn't ready for. Did he have any Ohio State?
Did he have any Ohio State athletic department paraphernalia in that shot? I don't know. Go ahead, Pastor.
I don't know.
Google it if you don't have any idea what we're talking about, audience. Go ahead, Pastor. No. That's on me, not Pastor. Go ahead.
This is one of the problematic pieces that we have here too, because we have actually seen now quite a few things. We got Fox News, folks who were texting, please get him to stop, please get him to denounce this. Even coming out that the president's own son had tried to reach him to say, stop, you got to denounce this, and all these things. And these are the same folks who, in private, were doing that. We're sending those kind of texts to trying to say, hey, you got to call this out. This is a problem. But then on the other side, publicly are not only giving a defense, but continuing to put forward these false claims that were causing folks to get whipped up in this in the first place. Right. There just is no evidence. There is no even, in Trump appointed judges were looking at throwing out cases left and right because these lawsuits didn't make any sense. There was no evidence to back any of this up. But I don't need evidence if I just keep repeating over and over again and telling you. And so how there's some integrity pieces here about how I spew the false information on one side, and then on the secret side, when the cameras aren't on, try to do the right thing by saying, hey, this is out of hand and all of those kinds of things, and then turn around and come back in front of the public and figure out ways to defend what just happened there. So this doesn't work. And there's a whole lot of folks who came and reached out to me as these things begin to happen, because they're like, wait a minute, this isn't real. What are the fruits, right? And my faith tradition, it says, look at the fruit of what happens.
Tell a tree by the fruit it bears.
Yeah. And so folks are starting to say, hey, I want to have a Republican, a fiscally conservative, socially conservative viewpoint, but this ain't it for me. And they're trying to figure out a different way to be. And there's a lot of folks that are in some identity crisis in that regard, because they're like, hey, I have this viewpoint about how we should do taxes or things like that. And I feel like the only way to get those to come forward is to hitch myself to something that's looking more and more destructive and crazy to me.
That last part, she's saying that there may be people, and let me see if I heard you right. Are you making considerations for the people who may be on that side of the equation for legitimate differences of, economic policy, whatever policy, but they are getting caught up and sway? Did I hear that? I just help me understand that last point.
Yep. To put it in I have folks who I've been friends with for a long time who have conservative viewpoints, and we've kicked it all of our time. And then we get into conversations now, like our family's acting up, and we'll get into each other's presence, and I'm like, all right, so this happened, and they're like, yeah. All right, I will give you that while still having a debate.
I can't defend that
taxation in our space. You're right, and I've been there. You know how many times? Because we cut up in my family, and we have to take an approach of just accepting all of us as we are and dealing with it as it's there. And then you end up having a really good time, and you're going to have some moments where somebody says something real out of pocket, and you have to deal with it. The challenge and issue I see here is that folks aren't dealing with their family. I have to you don't make apologies for folks, but we have to turn around and have some truth telling with our own folks. And there are a lot of people who are in this position of having to take that role. Right. I'm still a member of this family, But we can't keep ignoring the molestation that was happening earlier on. We have to face the facts and have a conversation. We can't bury that under the rug anymore. We've got to start having those conversations.
Man, listen here. When we January 2022, we're making a slight pivot on the show, not a major pivot. Relax, audience. We're not going to make a major pivot, but one of the pivots that we're going to make is having those conversations. Those difficult conversations that are difficult to have outside the context of a compassionate circle of people who trust each other and can delve into some of those issues. And even if those issues bring us into, because I have some conservative friends that I haven't talked to them in a while. I'm afraid to see where they stand on the Kyle Rittenhouse issue, because then they can't be my friends anymore. Like, because like some of our friends, they not only got lost in this, but they're drilling down deeper into it. And then some other things that you said there, that conversations that I want you particularly to be a part of it here with us. So, man, you're making all of my synapses fire this morning. I want to get one more clip in here. And this is Tucker Carlson. And I brought up Kyle Rittenhouse specifically because Fox News and Tucker Carlson are giving Kyle Rittenhouse the boy next door treatment. And regardless of the American justice system saying that he was innocent, it is a fact that he killed 2 people. And it is a fact that Fox News and Tucker Carlson and all the people who support that are now elevating Kyle Rittenhouse to what I would call a level of deity, a level of idol worship. Let's take a listen to this clip.
Oh, Kyle Rittenhouse.
It is so nice to meet you.
It's really good to meet you.
I can't believe you're
Big
here.
fan of your show.
Well, we're fans of yours, as you know.
Yeah.
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
For most Americans, Kyle Rittenhouse is more meme than man. But in real life, Rittenhouse is a working class kid from the least privileged sector of our society.
I worked at Six Flags as a custodian. I was a fry cook. I fried cheese curds, fish.
Rittenhouse was a lifeguard and a firehouse cadet. He did this to support his family and to help his community. But under the rules of anarcho-tyranny, you're not allowed to protect your community. Protecting his community is just what Kyle Rittenhouse felt compelled to do.
So tell me, Kyle.
I've got a lot to say, but I want to yield the floor to you, Pastor Galloway. What are your thoughts about this turn of events?
Jay-Z said, "I'm not black, I'm OJ." Okay. Like this is going to go down. You know, I remember where I was when OJ was acquitted. And I was in a classroom and we all cheered and my teacher had it on when she wasn't supposed to have it on. And we walked into other spaces and we saw I saw white teachers crying in the hallway. Like, I can't believe this stand like that. And I say that because I see a very similar thing happening here where we're the ones now crying in the hallways and a certain sector are seeing this person who's responsible for the death of other folks. You know, regardless of what the court says, he's been acquitted of charges, right? But there is no question that those folks died at his hands, right? So we're going to be in this debate space that's going to unfortunately go back and forth, and you're going to see this turning into hero, because that's what you have to do. In order for him to have, and I'm just stepping back for a second. In order for him to have any semblance of a normal life, where folks know that he was responsible for the death of these folks, whether or not that was criminal is what was acquitted, right? There's not a question about the responsibility, and so this unfortunately is going to be a thing where folks again are going to wrap an identity project. This is what's happening. We're wrapping an identity project around this, and he's going to get used up. He's going to get used up. And my concern is that, there's nothing around this young man who's going to help him work through the fact that he's responsible for the death of some folks, that he killed some folks. Right. And whether or not he was justified, one camp is going to tell him he was justified in it, and that's going to get him through. But that's not going to last him oh, hold on. There's some psychological concerns that I have for anybody who takes a life, whether you are a soldier, whether you are a police officer, whether you are, somebody who is responsible for somebody else's death. I've had to have conversations with young people who, playing with guns, accidentally killed a friend of theirs. And now that sticks with you for a long time. You, regardless of whether or not it was an accident, you are responsible for the death of somebody else. That's not something that's easy to work through. And I'm really concerned that, you're going to get a story that says you were justified. That doesn't last you a long time, right? I've got friends who are who grew up in gang culture and gang life, and they're struggling to this day with some of those experiences, where they were involved in violence that led to somebody's death. And now we're having a conversation now that they've been released and they're trying to get back into society. One of the things that they struggle with is the fact that there is not something there to process that, other than you were justified because you was down for the colors. And that doesn't last forever.
Yeah.
Right. And so,
No, go ahead.
I was just saying, this to me, this looks a lot like, you was down for the colors.
Yeah, no, it actually absolutely does. And as you put it in that context, here's the concern for me. I don't see any contrition. I don't see, in fact, I see the exact opposite, right? I see 17, 18 year, however old he is now. I see a young boy a young man who's still, in terms of maturation of the mind as a child, and America needs to do that accordingly across the board, not pertaining to if they're white or black. Like, we know they always see 12-year-old Tamir Rice as a grown man and 18-year-old Kyle Rittenhouse as a child. But in the context of the conversation that you just posed about Kyle Rittenhouse, I got to dig in a little bit deeper, because part of regret is contrition. And he's on a world tour. He's probably getting more attention, more women, more drugs, he's just having a good time right now. And I feel like it's paired with something different that wasn't happening at the OJ case. With the OJ case, you're right. He got, from everybody's best estimation, he got away with murder. And I cheered at the time.
Ben, if I can.
But wait, let me finish this thought, though. The thing is, though, Kyle Rittenhouse, with OJ, nobody assumed that we would be able to go out and do likewise. The precedent that Kyle Rittenhouse case has set is the expectation. We saw somebody get killed with it the very next week. And I love what you said about they're going to use him and it's not going to last. So my question to you, Pastor Galloway, is this. With a young man who's being shown that his behavior of killing two people is something to be celebrated, paired with the system that's going to use him up in about 3 to 5 years, he's not going to have that attention anymore. I'm terrified of the lesson that is being imbued in the mind of a man like that, and a community that looks at his trial and says, now we can get away with murder. What are your thoughts? And then, David, I'll circle back to you.
Yeah, it's problematic in that, the precedent that it sets that I can get myself into a situation that I had no business being in the first place and still have the option of, quote unquote, calling it self-defense for a problem I created is a very difficult message to send, because I've said this before in the show, right? I work with young folks who could end up like this, who could end up following this line. And if there isn't something that checks and say, I don't need to get myself into that situation to put on an identity, because nobody's presenting me with an identity other than this track. Like, I can see folks going down this road and I have to figure out how to interrupt that. And this definitely doesn't help. At the same time, however, Ahmaud Arbery's killers, who created the situation in the first place, just like Galloway Rittenhouse created the situation that led to what happened there. But they were charged. And so and that actually has come through in conversations with some of these very young folks, who look at that and they're arriving at, well, yeah, if they would have never got involved in the first place, if they would have left that to officers, everybody would have their lives right now. And now I'm like, okay, good. Because now we're having a different conversation and I'm seeing them internalize that. It was a very different conversation with Kyle Rittenhouse, because they were compelled to come to some defense and say, well, yeah, and this is why that happened. And Ahmaud Arbery case, or excuse me, the killing of Ahmaud Arbery, not the Ahmaud Arbery case, the killing of Ahmaud Arbery, and the charging of the folks who killed him, gave a pause, give a chin check to that thought process. And so, that's the concern that I have, is that this royal treatment that he's getting is going to encourage folks to get into and create situations where they can claim self-defense because they see this as a line. And here's the thing: we're in this society, we're trending towards accountability. It may not be as fast as we need to, but we're trending that way. And it's not a good bet to make for yourself.
David, go ahead, and you're about to jump in there, David.
Yeah, and this doesn't really sway me a whole lot, honestly, but he does, when we have a clip, if you want to play it, I don't really care to hear his interest in women per se, which he does also discuss, but he was on with Steven Crowder, and he did acknowledge that people died and his acquittal shouldn't be celebrated. Then 2 minutes later, moments later, actually, Crowder showers him in praise. So I mean,
let's listen to that clip. I want to hear that clip, but I also want to play it, and then I'll say it after we play it. Run the clip.
I know you said that it wasn't something that should be celebrated.
That is correct.
But you don't feel guilt for what you had to do?
No. I knew I defended myself, and I just don't think it's something to be celebrated out. At the end of the day, 2 lives were lost, and I may have been attacked, but it's not something to celebrate.
I don't think it's something to celebrate, and I asked that because if you said that you did, this would be an intervention that you should not feel any guilt. And I know sometimes there's misplaced guilt when there's a traumatic event. You weren't there taking and harming lives like the people who attacked you. They all, and this is relevant, you didn't know it at the time, but they all spent a lifetime harming other people. You have not. You were there to help. Kid who was thrust into a situation that really through no fault of his own, and a lot of conservatives or people on the right tried to do the both sides, and we didn't. A lot of prayers said for this kid in this studio, and I think you all know how emotional it was for us when he was vindicated. And now he's on social media, so it's so maybe that's what you want for Christmas.
That's what I want for Christmas.
A nice dame. What are you looking for in a woman?
Yes.
Tracts of land. Yeah. No. What are you looking for in a woman?
Some person that just wants to date me for who I am. And what I'm looking for in a woman is I like a girl with a little bit of butt.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Some waist, big tits, big boobs.
No, dude, you're a guy. Let people get mad at that.
Yeah, let people get
every guy in the world's a hypocrite.
All right, so I wanted that to play because I want us to be sure. We got to tell the difference between genuine and talking points. Kyle Rittenhouse had millions of dollars thrown behind him for his legal services. Part of those legal services was public relations. That is a public relations talking point. We shouldn't celebrate it. And then Steven Crowder, who I know, Steven Crowder owes me a debate. He's a coward. He's been the guy, the host that you heard in the background. He's literally been running for me since 2016 on a debate. And he's also running for my friend Sam Cedar on a debate. So setting aside the clown Steven Crowder, the usage of Steven Crowder to do the celebration while Kyle Rittenhouse gets to do the plausible deniable thing and look magnanimous. I mean, that's a standard PR move. And they executed it pretty flawlessly there. What do you think, Pastor Galloway?
In the Hunger Game books, the victors are put onto a media campaign after having gone through and been put through this machine of, I think, again, it still comes down to usage for me. And I think it's inherently problematic. Now, if I can convince myself that I was justified in my actions, I was defending myself, that's a coping that I can cope with that. I can build a little something psychologically around that for a while. I just don't think it's a lasting one. So it's going to hit at some point. What happens when all the money's gone, when the attention is away, and I go into daily life, even if I don't have any animosity to you whatsoever, if I'm not going to put my kids in a situation where you are in charge of their protection, I'm not going to, there's going to be certain limits that I have on there. And so it's going to change how we are in society. Right. And at the same time, I believe there's a way to a redemptive approach to this. Right. our legal system did one thing, but he has to still live life. And I just see an extraction here of energy and juice from this, from all the folks around, to prove the socio-political identity point, as opposed to just acknowledging the issues that we have, even in identity wise. But there's we're not offering people an identity pathway beyond beyond all of these negative things. It's like we're trying to wrap an identity around all the things that and the choices that we've made historically, racially, that are wrong, and it doesn't leave you another out or a way of being. And so I have to defend this so vehemently, and I create a whole new thing instead of dealing with the trauma that's in front of me. This is one of the trauma responses that I have, is I create a whole new world where I didn't experience that trauma in the first place. This is why you have folks waking up at, in their 20s and 30s and realizing that they experienced abuse as a child. Why? Because their shame response was used by predators to write a whole new reality where that didn't exist, just to cope. And I'm just concerned about what happens when the bubble bursts.
I'm going to be honest with you, Doc. In 2022, I don't know that I'm going to talk about the news cycle. I certainly don't know if I'm going to give my energy to so-called white supremacy. Your last couple of words about how predators use fear and they use those techniques to manipulate and control someone, to create an alternative timeline in our minds, to make us forget the trauma, and then we remember it when we're in our 30s and our 40s. That, along with every other issue, as well as Afrofuturism. I'm going to talk about our community in 2022. I'm going to talk about the community of good faith, not just Black folks, but those of us who might be of a different political persuasion and have different political beliefs, but we're people of good faith, and we know wrong when we see it. Right. And listening to you talk about this in this context, I'm also realizing one last thing before I let you go, Pastor Galloway. I'm glad that we have you to come in and extend some of that pastoral grace that is really Christ-like. I'm going to be honest with you. You're a good man, because let me see Kyle. No, I'm joking. Pastor Anthony Galloway, I want to thank you, man, for being with us this morning and giving us this insight on so many stories. And I also want to thank you for having the pulse of the true issue underneath it. And I want you to have you back as much as we can get you in 2022, man.
Sounds like a plan. I'm going to take a brief break at the end of January for my 38th birthday. But I want to extend, Georgia and I just wrapped our Bearing Witness podcast series with our farewell episode that's going to be coming out shortly. And so definitely give some love over to Miss Georgia, who's doing some amazing work. We'll figure out what the next chapter is for that. But that was a community checking with frontline folks in the Twin Cities area during this period of reckoning. Highly recommend going and checking that out.
Absolutely. And when it drops, give me the link. I know Georgia will. We'll make sure we spread it everywhere. Pastor Anthony Galloway, thank you so much. Dwayne, take us to a break. When we come back, Rebecca Azor will be joining us for Like It or Not. We'll be back right after this.
Exceptions, which I appreciate. What
No, you just can't hurt me. No, you just can't hurt me. No, no, no. No, you just can't hurt me. No, you just can't hurt me. No. See, it's hard to be polite. It's easy being petty. Mama used to tell me, gotta use
y'all, I forgot to tell y'all, I met Tom Hanks once. I did. I met Tom Hanks. He said he was rude as hell, though. He was just so rude. So I asked for an autograph, and all he wrote was thanks.
So be a light up on my path and a lamp under my feet. I know my faith strong, but my flesh still kind of weak. When that victory be looking like the verge of defeat.
So many people here. Watch what I say.
That she can say sticks and stones may break my bones, but your words can't hurt me.
Oh, y'all get it now, don't y'all?
Been right more than I've been wrong, and it still can't hurt me. No, it just can't hurt me. No.
Hey, y'all, also, I learned how to use disposable masks, like coffee masks or filters to brew espresso. I learned to use disposable masks to brew espresso because they're coffee filters. Coffee filters? Tune in in the background talking about they might shut this channel down. Man, go to hell today.
It was just a misunderstanding.
Y'all know I ain't got no damn sense, man. Y'all leave me alone. Y'all make sure y'all stay tuned. Our sister from another mister be joining us soon.
I checked your number twice, then I went home. But I wanted
Okay. This is the last one. This is for my nerds out there. This is good for the nerds. How did Bilbo survive the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy? How did Bilbo survive the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy? Because all hobbits die hard.
I meant everything I said. You don't have to search no more.
Laura Strada, good morning.
You don't have to prove us to anyone. You don't need to worry.
All right, y'all. Well, we got our little Caribbean vibe going on. Jamaica, December, yay. All right, new patrons. We have Alex Z and Mark S, our new patrons, new Twitch subscribers. We have the Chicken Fried Dragon, who gifted a subscription to Carpe Pax and Antisocial Communists. We have
Like It or Not with Benjamin Dixon starts now.
Who's doing it? Good morning.
Welcome to Like It. How we do it? We like
you can do it.
No, I can't. Hold on. Let me get my mic right first. Is it?
And we lost your mic again.
Cause it unplugged.
All right, we're gonna do it again. We're just not the same without. It's just not the same without DJ Exclusive here saying good morning.
It's not. And I don't know what he was doing on that island in Mexico or whatnot. And
before we start talking, it doesn't feel right until we say welcome to Like It or Not, where we're free to tell the truth
and not care who doesn't like it.
It is Friday, December 17th, 2021. I am here with my sister from another Mr. Rebecca Azor. I know I'd be messing with you, so let me not say it wrong.
Bubba,
Rebecca Azor.
Anyways, yesterday it was our beloved producer's birthday, and I totally remembered before the show to say it on the show, forgot, got off the show, remembered. He let us do the whole show, and we're talking about Dwayne. He let us do the whole show without even saying happy birthday. So I wanted to start it off by saying happy birthday.
I almost went this whole show. We already going 1 hour.
We should just spend an hour talking about Dwayne and his birthday and our appreciation. Just because he wanted to avoid it.
Yeah, no. I mean, Dwayne is slick because most people like everybody to know when their birthday is. Our technical director in the background let us go an entire episode yesterday without talking about his birthday. I think it's because he's feeling like an old man now. But y'all give some happy birthday love to Dwayne in the chat rooms across the platforms.
Yeah, and then drop his Cash App, David, because I know you know it. So drop his Cash App, and because Dwayne likes to do this thing because we can't see him, and I don't know what he's doing right now, but it's either
holding that precious little
rolling
baby,
his eyes, hitting the blunt, or taking care of his
no,
baby. So,
wait! Don't say that immediately after I said he was holding his baby.
Oh, well, some people do both. I don't know. I'm not judging nobody's parenting in this season. So, but yeah, happy birthday, Dwayne. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, man. Turn your microphone on and say something, man.
Thank you. Yeah, I did get away. Yesterday I was like, all right, I'm not going to say nothing. And I hope they don't say nothing. And I got through the whole couple hours. And sure enough.
Sure enough.
Who is
that told us afterwards?
Rebecca.
Dwayne's birthday. He let us slide and not say nothing. That's
nothing. I was upset about that. Dwayne, how old are you now, man? 62?
26.
I am 33.
33.
Oh, you're Jesus
oh,
year
you Jesus
too.
years.
It's all the men's Jesus year this year. Look, I don't know. But it's everybody I know, it's their Jesus year. So hopefully it's a really good year for you. I know you've been blessed with this beautiful baby girl. Yeah. So, there's probably nothing more you can ask for in this season. So I pray a good year for you,
That's right.
So
that's right. May this revolution around the sun be one of the best ones. And we're going to mark it on our calendar so it doesn't happen next year. You're not getting away with it. What is it? December 16th. I'm going to put it on my calendar now. Let me set up a Google notification so I can get a reminder next year. Rebecca? No, I already forgot to do it. I already forgot. You know how you say you go pray for people? Stupid. You know how you say you go pray for people? And that was the prayer?
That was the prayer. No, listen. Everybody's gifts for Christmas is still in my own prayers and my wish list, okay? I don't have it, okay? That was it. Last year I said, girl, you better pray. I'm going to pray. I'm definitely going to do you right next Christmas. It's still in that prayer. Because baby, I ain't got it.
Not this year. Last year was a really good Christmas because last year I had all those viral videos. I took down Donald Trump and all those things, like all those. Man, this year the kids, y'all Christmas is looking like I'm a socialist. Like I don't believe in Christmas.
Listen. Okay, it's just like I was on the phone with my best friend. I was like, girl, you already know you getting your gifts after Christmas, because you gotta get it when the check drop. Okay, then I can go because I'm not, and I'm also not going into stores. I'm not going right out here. The clear people are they're moving as if I'm clear, like they don't see me as if I'm see through.
You're invisible now.
I'm like, that's crazy because usually when I come into the store, you guys all stare at me like, what is that?
What's she gonna take?
Is that an ER? Like in this store? Like, but now, Ben, they are like just walking past me. Like they don't see me. They just over here. Unless unless I'm in the same lane with them, that's it. Because their kids would just go like this.
What they kids?
And I'd be
what
like,
the kids do, Rebecca?
Because I'm tall too, so they be like. And I'm like, if you don't get, you're stringy hair. I'm just kidding. But no, seriously, it's too many people, because you know how some black babies ain't got no hair in the back.
My son's hairline's still trying to come in.
Some of the little cute white babies, now all babies is cute to me, but some of the little cute white, they have like one little string, just holding on. And the parents be having the nerve to put that little piece right in a little bow.
A little gel on it.
I said, if you don't let that baby hair do what it's going to do in Jesus' name.
A little mousse. Stick a little mousse
outside. It's too many people outside. I mean, so many. And you know how in Atlanta you have Atlanta's black, really super black. There's this area called Canton, Canton, Georgia.
Yeah.
I went there.
It ain't super black, I can tell you that.
It's super white, but it is so busy. I'm like, there's an area for you guys like this. I mean, they are popping out there, baby.
I'm done. No, wait a minute. No.
It is lit. No, they do
Rebecca.
not see nothing. No, it's
Rebecca.
Yeah.
You pushing. I think we are literally pushing the envelope on how much we can get away with.
A predominantly white area in Georgia is not pushing the envelope. People think
No. Saying, oh my God, you guys have a place that y'all can go in Atlanta.
Because people assume that Atlanta is just so black. And I'm here to tell you that, and even though this is outside of Atlanta, a lot of people,
downtown Atlanta, around all the historic monuments is gentrified.
Like
me and my wife went down. It's so gentrified. We were riding scooters down there. When you're gentrified when you got the motor scooters and you got the white folks driving around,
and you get
super
to
gentrified when black folks start riding those scooters.
And you get to drop the motor scooter off anywhere.
I drop it off in the hooded spaces I can.
Yeah, they tried that in Buckhead, and then they started being like, nah, because people was taking them joints. People was taking them.
Bruh, I took mine down. If you let me, I'll drive something down to College Park. You ain't gonna ever see those scooters again. But it's a testament to the fact that Atlanta ain't really that black no more. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of black folks in that area, but Atlanta proper, you go down there and ride down there by Martin Luther King spot, you're going to run into a lot of gentrified apartments, a lot of, of our white allies, ostensibly allies, but I digress. What you looking at today, Rebecca? Because I haven't even looked at the spreadsheet for Like It or Not.
You know what, man?
I don't even know what's going on.
It's me neither. So, David, I love you so much. I'm gonna log in now.
Well, Rebecca wanted to discuss we thought alike 2 days in a row. The whole team was on the same page. We got the truck driver story, and then we also have Young Dolph, who's in the title. So it's Young Dolph.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Young Dolph's homegoing.
That truck driver story is wild.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Rebecca. I'm sorry.
Truck driver story.
We got clips for both.
It is ridiculous. A 22-year-old Cuban immigrant. I don't know why that had to be. And they say Cuban immigrant, and I'm like a 22-year-old. Okay, like that's all we got. Because when you say Cuban immigrant or immigrant in any title, because that's what I see in every title, they're almost trying to make it seem like he was illegal. Anyway. And he was not illegal. But a Cuban immigrant truck driver doing his job, lost control of his, I believe, 18-wheeler and ended up killing, I believe, 4 people in a fiery crash. And he didn't have control of his car. The car at the truck accident was not his fault. It was just, they said, it's reportedly that the brakes failed and he ended up getting it. And this is the 18-wheeler we're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Getting into a crash. They've given him over 100 years. So let's take a look at
100 years.
Over 100 years. Yeah.
Everyone, the Houston truck driver that was convicted for causing a major crash in Colorado was sentenced to 110 years in prison. Now, in 2019, Rohel Aguilar Medeiros lost control of his semi-truck near Denver. He slammed into stopped traffic, killing 4 people. Well, Monday in court, he told the judge he doesn't know why he's still alive.
I know that it has been hard and heartbreaking for everyone involved in this tragedy. I don't know why I'm alive.
In addition to the 110 years stemming from those charges, Aguilera Medeiros was sentenced to 30 years for 11 other charges that will be served concurrently.
30 more years on top of that? That's what I heard?
Yeah. Well, concurrently, so he's going to be serving it at the same time, but he's serving 110 years. So that concurrent doesn't really help.
For an accident in a truck that he doesn't even know why he's still alive. He was doing a job. Everyone knows being a truck driver is a very, very dangerous job. If you stop 2 seconds wrong, like you could crush a whole line of cars. If you're going a little bit like 2 miles over the speed limit, like anything with those trucks, it's very, very dangerous to be a truck driver. So for him, and there is nothing that is showing that for him, he was drunk, he was on drugs, nothing. Cleared of all that.
The worst they have on him is that he's a Cuban immigrant. That's why they put it in the title. And that is in
every title that I've seen for this story. I said, okay, is he illegal? Did they give him a job and he was doing it illegally? Is it what are we doing? What are we doing here? Nothing. Was he on drugs? Was he moving drugs? Is this what? None of that. That 20, he's a baby. 22 years old.
There it is.
So one thing that's important specific to this, I guess in Colorado specifically, in this case it's the law. It's the judicial or the legal body that passed the law. That's the problem.
Mandatory sentencing.
Because the judge didn't have any room on this one, unfortunately. That's one key problem. He was driving excessively fast, 85 miles per hour, but I don't understand how the charges.
That's excessively fast.
In a truck, in an 18-wheeler. You can't even stop on those cars like that.
The thing I don't understand is how they charged him with assault, with extreme indifference, with vehicular. So it sounds. I don't know what the language is in those laws and those charges, but that makes it sound intentional.
They have to, I get the laws. Yeah, so mandatory sentencing is honestly a byproduct of the war against Black people in this country, and poor people and marginalized groups. This guy, I can't help but look at this story and honestly see how broken this man is about what happened. And we have a system that won't show him any mercy, whether it's because of mandatory sentencing, and that's still a part of the system, right? So the system is not going to show this man mercy when we literally have a system that shows Kyle Rittenhouse freedom, right? And this was not intentional. I get it, 85 miles an hour. So he should have some charges, right? There should be some accountability. There should be some culpability. But one, 110 years. And two, like you said, David, and you said, Rebecca, it is the criminalization of this man's accident that is necessary for this to just be like, okay, well, let's move on and not pay attention to how broken our system is.
I just don't. He keeps asking, he don't even know why he's alive. I don't know if he's saying, I don't even know, I shouldn't even be alive for what, for the accident, like how bad it was. Or I shouldn't even be alive, because of maybe he feels guilt for even doing this, but knowing that it wasn't his fault. Or I got 110 years, my whole life is gone. Yeah. I probably won't even be ready for parole until I'm like an old man. Like this is what I don't like about I don't care. I hear it, and I hear that these, there are things in place. And this is why I say, Ben, due process doesn't make sense to me, because this, to me, it's not fair in any way, shape, or form. And the way they're going to definitely push to criminalize this 22-year-old truck driver. And we know other stories of people going over the speed limit, killing families, what I'm saying? All that. But just having to go maybe to rehab or serving some time in that moment, maybe a few months or a year or whatever. But I've never heard of 110 years, 110 years for something that was out of his control.
And like you said, truck driving is a
very dangerous job.
So dangerous.
Yes.
Yeah. And I know you know that. So not that you were a truck driver, but it is.
Yeah, I know about truck driving, because let me tell you, I can tell the world. So when I was looking for a job, this 3 years ago, I was looking for, because I was Black.
Rebecca, no, I got to tell it. Rebecca Azor in her high heel stilettos, her fabulous nails. Put Rebecca on the full screen. Let's shift gears. We're going to be praying for that, brother. Full screen nails. Rebecca Azor with her hair, with her wigs, beat to the gods, high heels, red bottoms, not really red bottoms, but the knockoff red bottoms. He was climbing up in 18-wheelers, doing the mileage, the after checks when trucks pulled into the warehouse.
Yeah.
And didn't you have to back up one and park it one time?
I had to park it. I had to move it and park it into a...
Rebecca Azor out there driving 18-wheelers.
Let me tell y'all. I had to leave it where it was at. It was like, listen, so listen. And that was part of the training process. And then I had to wear goggles, and the girl was like, oh, you want to wear those heels? Yes, I do want to wear these heels. I'm not going to look poor like you guys. I ain't even had no money.
Mark from Australia. It's been a while, but we need Rebecca climbing up into an 18-wheeler. Go ahead, Rebecca.
Anyways, so I got this job, it was at the time where no one was hiring me because I stood up to someone who's big in the game, whatever. So I was really frustrated. So I was like, I'm willing to take anything, sell my soul to the truck driving business. I went over there, got the job. Y'all, they had me going into areas, and in order to walk into areas where they're fixing the car, I had to put on my goggles. It's very dangerous just to even be around the trucks when they're being looked at or when they're being worked on, because anything could happen in that moment. So I had to put on goggles. You guys, I had to put on those crossing guard tops, the high yellow, the highlighter yellow pieces, the highlighter yellow joints, and it was like, guys, I kid you not, 85, 90 degrees outside. And they had me walk, I think and she did it on purpose. because they always can't stand when a cute girl comes to the job. So the lady that hired me did it on purpose. She's like, oh, Rebecca has heels on. Send her all the way to the back to truck number such and such and such and such, and make her go through it. That truck was sitting there, y'all, for days. So sometimes the truck drivers will come and drop it off and call it a day. I had to walk onto the gravel, heels, but I was like, oh, she's trying it. So I made sure I got my back straight, walked on that gravel, shaky as hell, but I made it to the truck. Sweat when I got there, armpits are sweaty, back is sweaty, but face was still fresh. Opened up the truck. In order for me to climb up the truck, I had to get this little ladder on, then step on the first step, then step on the next one, hold on to the tire, then grab onto this little thing, and then hop up just like so, and then get in there. Depending on what the truck driver left behind, you might get some smells, you might get whatever. They even said that there were people who would die in the trucks because they had nowhere to go. They lived in the trucks. So they would come and stay, on the premises and live out of the trucks, and some of them would just, of exhaustion, die in those trucks. I was praying to God, please, God, I don't want to see a body. I don't want to see a body, God. I don't want to see a body. But yeah.
Can you, I want you to pause there for 1 second, Rebecca, because that, I know we laughing, but now we just turn the corner on how serious this is, right?
Yeah.
Truck drivers put their lives on the line every day,
very serious
and they get treated like crap. And then at the end of the day, they're living in their trucks, driving around the country, making sure all our little junk, because most of the stuff they carry is junk. Let's just be real. They're carrying plastic, molded junk that you're going to throw away, but they're risking their lives to get that junk to you. And then when they pull into their stations and they pull into their warehouses and park, they don't have a place to go, and some of them die in their trucks.
There were trucks that had went through the worst car accidents that they will bring the truck in its accident state over to the premises and just have it sitting there. They make you ride around. And I'm like, why did this truck come here? They were like, because it had so much things in it. So we thought, like, at least we'll keep the stuff. Person probably died, but at least we'll keep the stuff that was in the truck. Mind you, the stuff is still sitting in the truck. No one went to the truck. I said, how long has this truck been sitting here? Over a year.
Junk. We're risking truck drivers, and oftentimes, not all the time, some of it is very important stuff. I get it. But you can't tell me all those trucks that are populating and congesting our highways in Atlanta are all imported.
Yeah.
But the truck drivers are risking their lives to get it delivered on behalf of Amazon and Walmart.
Mm-hmm. And last truck story, because there's so many from my short time there at the truck stop, the trucking business. There was a man who said, I don't want to take this particular route, because you had 3-day routes, 30-day routes, 21-day routes, depending on where you were. Sometimes you weren't local. You would have to do, state, across country, stuff like that. And this one man was like, I don't want to do this route. And they were like, sir, you're going to have to do it or return the truck. He's like, I have children, and I told you guys this was my schedule. I have to listen to the dispatch calls. So he's like, I said this was my schedule. I'm not doing this route. And they were like, we know that we gave it to you last minute, but you have to do it or you will lose your job. He was like, you know what? I fought for this job. I went through training for this job. I refuse for you guys to make me go further than what my route. I reached my route. I'm not going past this state. I'm going back home. And they were like, you must go to this route. If you don't, we will fire you. And so you know what he did? He started the car and turned it around and went back home. But he was on the run. Mm-hmm. He was on the run with the truck. Christ. But he was making stops, fueling up, eating food, and getting and coming. And they were like, they called the police. He didn't drop the truck off where it's supposed to be. Let me tell you something. As they were saying that, I look on our camera. He pulled up with that truck, dropped it off, threw the keys to the side, and went out there and waited for a taxi and got the hell out of here. He quit.
Yeah.
He quit because these people will make it seem like, because a lot of these truck drivers too are people who can't get other jobs. And I say this because I've seen this with my own eyes. People who can't get other jobs. Some of them partner up with their wives who are pregnant and travel to live in these trucks to make money because it's the only way they can do it, because they can't afford living. And living in the trucks is more cheaper. And so these are the lives of truck drivers. Some of them are able to make enough money to purchase their own trucks and do business that way. But when you're working with these companies, they will drain you for everything. I've seen it with my own eyes. I've even seen them them withhold checks from people. Withhold checks from people because they felt like it. And one guy even cried, saying, "This is my only income. This is my only income, please." And he's like, "Well, since you didn't provide the credentials," but they let him do all of the work knowing he didn't have the credentials. They let him do all the work.
He did the work and then they didn't pay him.
Yep.
I'm trying to remember where we covered the story yesterday. David, you can help me. Was it in Like It or Not or in the Benjamin Dixon Show about it was 26 or 24 people arrested in the slavery ring in Georgia. The slavery ring in Georgia, where immigrant workers, seasonal workers, migrant workers were being exploited at gunpoint, assaulted, some sexually assaulted. But
was it like on a farm?
It was in the beginning of Like It or Not yesterday.
Yes. So when you tell me, Rebecca, about the truckers and how their lives are being treated, I think about how these similar companies are treating migrant workers so they can get whatever they need to make their profit margins. All these companies need to make their profit margins. And what they do to those immigrant workers, treating them like slavery, if we let that continue, then what happens to truckers will continue. Because truckers, like Republicans, conservatives, they always talk about, truckers, the backbone of America. But listening to this story and all the stories that you're giving and what I know about truckers, because I know plenty, I know a couple of them, right? They going to keep exploiting American workers just like they would exploit immigrant workers, because the point is for them to make their money. They don't care about us as human beings. I don't care what your job is. I don't care what your race is. At the end of the day, they will exploit you too.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want, we can roll. I think Dwayne does have F1 from yesterday. That's the clip. If you want to tie that in before we go to Young Dolph.
Dwayne, if you have that handy, run that clip so we can get it up. So I just want you to compare. Like, don't think for a second that how we treat immigrants won't spill over into how we treat Americans, even our beloved drivers. Run that clip, Dwayne.
Well, 24 people have been indicted after the feds busted what they call a modern-day slavery ring as part of years-long investigation called Operation Blooming Onion. At least 100 immigrant workers were freed from conditions in which 2 people died. Another was repeatedly raped, and others were kidnapped and threatened with death. Southern Georgia, the Justice Department says exploitation of the workers included being required to dig onions with their bare hands, paid 20 cents for each bucket harvested, and threatened with guns and violence to keep them in line. The workers were held in cramped, unsanitary quarters and fenced work camps with little or no food, limited plumbing, and without safe water.
Thank you for having me. Officials told me and my colleague Phil McCausland that this is one of the country's largest human trafficking and visa fraud investigations. Investigators say that for years, these individuals brought Mexican and Central American immigrants to the U.S. under false pretenses and forced them to work in brutal conditions. And as you said, 2 people allegedly died under those conditions and others faced violence and threats of violence.
Danielle, the DOJ says the ring's organizers took advantage of a migrant visa program to bring these workers to the U.S. How did they exactly do that? Is there some sort of loophole there?
Right. So investigators say the migrants were brought to the U.S. under the federal visa program for guest farm workers, known as the H-2A visa. So last year, an NBC News investigation that I was a part of found that as this program has grown, it's left more guest workers vulnerable to abuses. So while federal laws are supposed to ensure decent working conditions, guest workers themselves and advocates say victims are reluctant to speak out about abuses when the employers are in charge of their housing, transportation, pay, and of course, ability to stay in the U.S. Yes, so the charges in this case are related to forced labor, mail fraud, money laundering, and conspiracy to commit such crimes. And defendants face charges that can carry up to a life sentence.
Danielle, you write that this operation is part of a new immigration enforcement effort by ICE. So what's different about it?
Right. So ICE said this investigation shows a shift to a focus on cracking down on bad employers who are exploiting people because of their immigration status through such brutal work conditions, lack of payment, and other abuse in order to maximize profits.
Look at it. Lack of payment and other abuses to maximize profits. It's funny. I'm not attacking truckers, but I wonder if how many truckers realize that the treatment that they're experiencing really kind of mirrors the treatment that immigrants, the migrant workers who have been enslaved in this country to make these quarterly profit margins. So I'm sorry, Rebecca. That's what it reminded me of when you were talking about that story that you experienced at your job.
Every place will have a slavery model where they're paying people pennies to a dollar and controlling them, and messing up their thought process on, America will make you think you are so lazy. And I understand this. I was talking to my girlfriend last night, and I was like, hey, when you're working somewhere, mama, my mom was calling me. When you're working somewhere, we have to respect where we're working. I'm not going to not show up to the show. I'm not going to not work for the company that I don't like that I'm working for. I need this money. And I also know I'm working for them. I'm going to respect, the fact that I work for them. I need to do the work while I'm there, like whatever. Now, I'm not going to let them abuse me, but I need to do that. But the things that they do to make you think, the things that they do that make you think you really, really can't be without this job. And if you don't work and if you don't overwork, you're lazy. They'll highlight the person that's literally like breaking their back, bending over underground, sideways, up in the air for the company. They'll highlight that person and be like, oh, wow, Bob, you are so great. Shaquan is doing so great. And that's all they do is send an email out to say that person is doing great. And now they make you feel less than, although you are doing what you were hired to do. So they'll make you feel this kind of way. And I feel bad because these truck drivers are sometimes driving out of their range, their payments and stuff are being taken from them. Now we see, or shorted. Now we see these immigrants who are on these farms. It's modern day slavery. It's slavery happening right now. Like being able to pick onions for these farmers and these places, and 20 cents. 20 cents an hour, was it?
26. I think 26 a bucket of onions.
Dude, that can't
which how much were they giving enslaved people for a bushel of cotton? Right?
She said sometimes not even $100 for a 3 a.m. to 5 p.m. And she said, what are you going to do, starve? What are you going to do? We had to do what we needed to do. So that's what these people are thinking. I can't even imagine right now, for even the pay that I get paid at my corporate job, it's not enough for me to live. 20 cents?
Every one of these companies at the end of the day will utilize. Think about the prison system. Think about the labor that's one of the workers in the candle factory that collapsed during the tornado was a prisoner on a work release program. How much you want to bet he wasn't making but 20 cents a day, something like that, risking his life. I really want people to understand that as you're driving your truck and you're listening to, Rush Limbaugh is dead, so you're not listening to that dead man anymore. Mm-hmm. But as you're listening to, I don't know, Dan Bongino or whoever the right wing has put up to make you angry while you're driving, the truth of the matter is they're making you angry at the people that you need to be in solidarity with, because the same people exploiting you are exploiting immigrants, are exploiting Black people, exploiting marginalized people, exploiting all of us.
You're right about it. And
I'm so glad Rush Limbaugh is not on y'all channel anymore. Sorry to that, man.
They listen to other psychos, like that one with the, forgot his name, but he has the little voice like this and he talks like this. That guy.
The Ben Shapiro's.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They're listening to them.
Colonizer. Anyway. Whew, Lord, that was a good story. That was a story that is, I was excited about that story because I knew you worked at a truck company, and I knew if anybody knew what truckers go through on the back end when they got to deal with these companies, I knew you would.
Now, David, did you read anything? Because I didn't read anything. But did the trucking company, by chance, get any reprimand?
Details on the company now.
Yeah, because I didn't see much of that in the article.
And what kind of pressure was that company? But that man was driving 85 an hour because he had to get to his destination. He was under pressure to get there.
And I was going to say, even if the trucking company got some flack for it, I could see them just saying, well, you know, even though the brakes failed, if he was going a safe speed, he would have been able to slow down, you know what I mean, or at least avoid. So they're going to figure out some way to skirt all kind of responsibility.
And I'm telling you, I've been on these highways enough to let you know that trucks go over 85 when you get them on the highways.
And they don't stay in the right lane that they're supposed to be in. They go on each and every one of them lanes, and they will flash their lights to blind you from the back. Those are the evil truck drivers. Not saying that man did that, but yes, funny, but yes.
No, we don't know if this was if he was an evil truck driver, they would have put that in the headline. Instead, they did what they could. Which
he didn't
was
have
Cuban.
Because they have a history. Truck drivers, for everything that you do, truck drivers, they will like have a history of their tickets, of anything that they do. So they would have found that in his history, and they would have definitely put that if that was a thing.
Yeah, being real, those some of the best times to be on the road. Like late at night, you find one of them trucks that's doing 85, 90, because you can just follow them because you know they got
right behind
CB radio. They watching the cops and all that.
So
get behind.
I thought I was the only one.
Nah, you either find a truck going or you find you a rabbit that's doing like 95 and just let him, and then you go chase it, man.
Yeah, so when the police, so when the police do see now what's happening.
You got to do it at night when they can't tell that you're black until they pull up on you.
Yeah, the police have gotten me. The police have gotten me twice for following, and I call them best friend cars. I don't know why. I always call them best friend cars. But you follow them,
That's my best friend.
Don't slow down. Where you getting off on exit 233? Oh my God! Now I gotta go slow because I ain't going fast. But
I call them rabbits. You let that rabbit get out there in front of you a little bit.
That is so funny.
Chase the rabbit.
Yeah, they tame I used to be a rabbit, man. I used to not get on the highway and not do less than 90. It was before I had kids. I got 7 tickets at one stop one time. I said, you know what, I'm gonna slow down. It's time for me to slow down. So after that sitting, I don't think I really sped too much more after that.
But also on this truck driver story, I couldn't find a video again, but yesterday there was some videos floating around with a bunch of truck drivers in solidarity. It was a line like 2 miles long of trucks just parked on the highway that wouldn't enter Colorado because of the verdict.
Oh wow!
Oh wow! No, that's the.
I couldn't find the video. I was looking for it again, but
God damn it,
David! No. I was about to mess with you publicly, like you messed with me in our Slack, but I'm gonna leave it low, David. We're going with that update. We're gonna need that update on Monday. All right. We got two really good stories, and I know we've been on the truck driver story for a minute, but we got Young Dolph, and then there's also another story about Dr. Oz trying to run for office. I'm so tired of these TV personalities. Like, I don't care if you're a TV personality. I'm just tired of these dickhead TV personalities injecting themselves at a time where we're trying to save democracy here, Dr. Oz. Can you please go and just make your money somewhere?
It's funny because he...
I was going to say, go to the serious one before you go to the clowning one.
Yeah, it's funny because he even, I saw that while he was saying that he's going to be campaigning, he said, well, my show isn't going to be available in some states anymore. I think that because he's campaigning, some states have, or some companies have decided not to play his stuff, but he's still going to be doing it, and it's still going to be in other areas. So I'm like, how do we balance out you being Dr. Oz and your scripted content, and things that you have said that haven't been the best? Like, you have not had the best judgment on things, especially stuff that don't even be in your arena. You don't even be your business. How do we separate that from, you wanting to run for a Senate seat? But we have people like Arnold Schwarzenegger, right, who has won and has been, the governor?
Governor of California.
And has done those things. Now, I don't know what his leadership looked like because that's not my state. All I remember was a celebrity being in that position. But now I feel like it's gotten to a point where, because we had a celebrity in place as the, as the president of the United States, we're talking about Donald Trump, I feel like now anybody feels like they can take that seat without actual wanting actual change, positive change, or hearing their constituents' actual, their actual issues and how they can, I don't see that for Dr. Oz. I just see a rich white man wanting to just doing what history has done and repeated itself in the United States of Florida, child, because I'm from Florida, in the United States of America, and wanting to just repeat history in that way, just being a rich white man, having some kind of history, having some kind of hierarchy, and being able to run. Do you know how many white people, like white women especially, are going to see this and be like, yeah, Dr. Oz, I love him. Let's vote.
Well, if he wants to win, he better clean up his answers because he's not giving them what they want to hear.
Oh, yes. Okay, so this is even better. Now, this is the funny part. So the serious part is we just don't have time for unserious people like Dr. Oz. We got we got a climate disaster impending. I'm trying to make sure my grandchildren actually can survive. Dr. Oz, please back the F up with your ignorance. Take a listen to this clip as he is completely and totally unprepared because, Rebecca, like you said, he doesn't have his script in front of him as he tries to answer the question on reproductive rights.
Exceptions, which I appreciate. What is your position as both a doctor and a senatorial candidate on when life begins? When should we draw the line when abortion is legal?
As a doctor, I appreciate the sanctity of life. And for that reason, I'm strongly pro-life. With the 3 exceptions I've mentioned, that's how I would vote.
And when does that life begin?
Again, if I'm pro-life, then it's a decision that comes back to the sanctity of when you think life does begin. And I believe it begins when you're in the mother's womb.
When you're in the mother's womb, but that carries you all the way up to 9 months of pregnancy.
No, of course not. Life's already started when you're in your mother's womb. But it's a rat hole to get trapped in the different ways of talking about it. We need, as a nation, to make sure the Constitution is appropriately followed, and people like me, and you may be in the same camp, who are pro-life, have our feelings respected. And this is something that should not be taken away from us by judiciary legislating from the bench.
Yeah, but that's also something that's going to have to be legislated, and that answer is going to have to be given specifically. Listen, I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you tonight.
Not the man reading him. Not the man.
Bro, why do the journalists say, hey, man, you're going to have to be prepared next time to ask you that question?
Hey, that was not, hey, you're going to have to work on that. Because I know, he's like, and then not Dr. Oz talking about, you on the same team as me. Why are you questioning me like that? He was like, because listen, they going to be questioning you like that. Now you up here, I'm giving you a shot, and you ain't doing what you need to do. That's really how they having that conversation right now. But you're just say that you're anti-abortion. Just say that.
Just say it.
And in your state, it's not, just talk about it because the people in your state ain't really gonna like that too much. And you need to know how to answer these questions. What about those people? How are you gonna include them? If you can be somebody with your thoughts, it could be like, okay, you're pro-life. But what about those who aren't writing the same? How are you gonna do that? Listen, Dr. Oz is taking the fact that he's a doctor and thinking that's enough. That's enough. They're gonna be hitting him with. They're gonna be. It looks like plastic surgery, but they're gonna be hitting him with other questions that have to do with medical questions or healthcare questions. They're going to be hitting him with that because he is a doctor. How is he going to answer those? It's not only going to be, if you're getting tripped up on abortion laws and you can't stand on your own 2 feet about what you believe in, ain't going to work for you, baby.
That's right.
It's not.
Period. Actually, hang on. I had to remember. The bar is Marjorie Taylor Greene. The bar is
Donald
Matt
Trump.
Gaetz. The bar is Donald Trump, Boebert. It's actually, he might win because white supremacy ain't sending its best, and Dr. Oz probably impressive to them. They probably, he got a doctor.
The bar for us,
he got money. Listen, Rebecca. Listen, I retweeted your little janky tweet this morning. Now, come on.
It made you laugh. That's why, because it's funny. It's so funny, but it's true. It's so funny, but it's true. It is so funny. And I only say that because, listen, don't get me wrong. Kamala Harris is a very intelligent woman. Kamala Harris done went to an HBCU. I get all that. Kamala Harris is black. Sometimes when she wants to say she's black, she's Asian. Sometimes when she wants to say she's Asian. Kamala Harris is a person of color. Kamala Harris is a woman. Kamala Harris is all of those things. But Kamala Harris is nothing like the person that was campaigning. I don't see that person. There is nothing that I don't see nothing. Now, so and what the tweet that Ben is talking about is yesterday, and it's a terrible segue, but that's the bar for black folks. Because we just be like, oh, this person.
Wait, Rebecca, you gonna let me clown white supremacy without having to clown black?
I just had to say we all got bars, and apparently they all not high right now. I don't know what we're doing. You know, we need to come back together and figure out. Listen, if we're gonna do it like this, we need to at least, you know what I'm saying, like, hey. But no, the tweet that he's discussing is, and mind you, we're in the middle of really not understanding that our student loans are going to come back in February, right? They're going to start kicking back in. So our credits are going to start doing something shifty. So we're in the middle of all this whole conversation with that, not understanding why their promises weren't kept with the student loans. Now, yesterday, old girl going to come out and tweet as I scroll through my timeline.
Yeah, I got it too. You don't have it handy.
Yeah, go ahead. Whatever she tweeted yesterday about electric cars. Said,
what was your reply?
She said, okay, so she says, when we ask people, this is her tweet. This is Kamala Harris's tweet. You can go on Twitter and go look for it yourself. When we ask people, what's the biggest barrier for them to buy an electric car? The answer is almost always figuring out where and how to charge it. The bipartisan infrastructure law will invest in a network of 500,000 chargers for all Americans for local and long distance trips.
What did you say this morning?
And I was like, girl, okay, we can barely afford the car we got now because of student loans. And you over there talking about electric cars.
Right.
Make it make sense. Like, you can't be popping up out of nowhere talking about electric cars. And that can't be the biggest problem that the biggest barrier for American people for you is electric cars. It's money. Money that we ain't got. A barrier for us is we don't.
In the conversation. Say that again, Rebecca.
We ain't got money.
I missed that last part. Oh, no, we don't. We ain't got money. I just think, God damn it, now you're going to make me talk about Kamala.
You don't have to, Ben. You don't have to.
No, I don't mind it. I'm actually really good at it. Because here's the thing, like, that tweet was so tone deaf. It's extra tone deaf for black people, but it's even tone deaf for white folks.
Oh, like, they're the worst. They're the worst.
We ain't out here driving no electric cars. And the reason we're not driving electric cars is, one, not only because we're broke, but because this country really is not interested in moving off of fossil fuels. Let's just be real. You're not interested in moving us away from an impending climate disaster because the car industry is still making money with the oil industry and they still stacking up their bricks, right? But the other reason is simply because, well, it's not designed for us to be able to afford cars anymore. America's not designed for us to be able to afford cars because, the price tag is fine. 18% interest rate, 36% interest rate, right? The problem is the system, Madam Vice President, not the lack of. What black person do you know is struggling at night to find a place to hook up their electric car?
Girl, tell myself. And then that's the tweet that you come out with after this is what I'm telling y'all. What? Aside from them walking down the hallways of a building that they don't stay in, talking about the White House and just, taking off their shades, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's cute for TikTok. It doesn't work for me in my belly when I'm hungry. It doesn't work for me when the collection calls are coming in. It doesn't work for me when I'm not able to pull up to an apartment complex and say, here is my income every whenever, and this is what I can afford, and can I get a home here? And they're asking me for 3 times that. It doesn't help me when I can't afford my medical bills or I can't get the proper care for my child. Okay, healthcare for my child, or the just asthma pumps. Okay, it doesn't help me when I can't get diabetes medicine. It doesn't help me. It does not help me. Electric car tweeting does not help me. It's not what the people need right now in America. And that is my problem. So when I see people like Dr. Oz and these other politicians, and these politicians that we have put on celebrity status, we have celebrities wanting to get in politics, and then we have these politicians that we're putting on celebrity status. What's happening here? What are we doing? I understand that they are people, that are going to be popular and they're going to be, that's naturally that comes. But the fact that they're doing more celebrity than, any promises on their what they campaigned off of, I'm talking about these politicians, it doesn't make any sense to me. And the fact that they're giving room for celebrities to come and take the seats that they were trained to fill is giving me pause for a cause. Cause for a pause. Yeah.
Cause for a pause. Damn it, that was a hell of a juxtaposition, Rebecca. You got celebrities trying to become politicians and politicians being treated like celebrities. What a word. After party, patreon.com/like it or not, or patreon.com/the BPD show, whichever one you're a patron of. If you're not a patron, go to patreon.com/like it or not and become a patron today. We don't have a patron party tonight because we're going to keep it public. All right, that's cool.
Yeah, we should probably just stay public.
Oh, we're going to 2:30 today? Because I forgot to tell you, I got to go.
You got to go? What time you got to go?
I got to go. Maybe like 10:15. I have to definitely log in before.
All right, so it's not my fault today.
No,
it's not my fault.
It's my corporate
So we're gonna go to a quick breather. Let's do a quick song. When we come back, like it or not, and the after party commences, we'll be back right after this.
Sticks and stones may break my bone, but your words can't hurt me. No, you just can't hurt me. No, I ain't been right more than I've been wrong, and it still can't hurt me. No, it just can't hurt me. No. No, you just can't hurt me. No, you just can't hurt me, no, no, no. I know it's hard to be polite, and it's easy being petty. My mama used to tell me, gotta use you when he ready. Man, it's crazy how my brother said it could have been my cell. It's either prison or a grave, that's what everybody tell me. Man, life ain't a beach, it's a female dog. I'm staying 10 toes down, though I still might fall. Oh yeah, now I done came through, knocking pictures off you walls. Cause loving people who persecute you, it's still a tough be a light up on my path and a lamp under my feet. I know my faith strong, but my flesh still kinda weak. When that victory be looking like the verge of defeat, and I feel that disrespect, help me turn my other cheek and say sticks and stones may break my bone, but your words can't hurt me. No, you just can't hurt me. No, I ain't been right more than I've been wrong, and it still can't hurt me. No, it just can't hurt me. No. No, you just can't hurt me. No, you just can't hurt me. No, no, no. No, you just can't hurt me. No, you just can't hurt me. No. See, it's hard to be polite. It's easy being petty. Mama used to tell me, gotta use you when he ready. Cause I ain't working on my own timing. Ain't got no diamonds on me, but I stay shining. Yeah, yeah. They say the world would be a better place if we take out the hate. Stop all the hate right now. Yeah. Let's keep it real. It'd be better if we just subtract the fake. Yeah. So be a light up on my path and a lamp under my feet. I know my faith strong, but my flesh still kinda weak. When that victory be looking like the verge of defeat, and I feel that disrespect, help me turn my other cheek and say sticks and stones may break my bone, but your words can't hurt me. No, you just can't hurt me. No, I ain't been right more than I've been wrong, and it still can't hurt me. No, it just can't hurt me. No. No, you just can't hurt me. No, you just can't hurt me. No, no, no.
Welcome back, everybody, to the after party. Welcome to the after party. It is Friday. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad it's Friday. Rebecca, what's your plans for the weekend?
Because I was put out of my business. So listen, y'all. So I was talking to a new man like every other day, but I felt like I felt like getting on one of them apps. I don't do well on those dating apps because it gives me bad anxiety. Like really, really, really bad anxiety. I don't like feeling like crazy. I don't know if that's like, if anybody else is like listening and they can agree with that experience on being on dating apps. You get picked apart and you pick people apart on those apps and you start just going crazy. But I feel like right now that's kind of like the only way to, because, you know, aside from me answering my DMs from creepy people, you know, this is more of a process. This is more of a process.
So everybody who's pulling up in her DMs, please try a less creepy approach.
Yeah, please. But you know, it sucks because you know you feel like you gotta wait to get chosen, and people are doing the same. Like everybody is just like kind of it's a pick me process. And I don't like that feeling. I don't like it at all. But every time I do get on these apps, it'd be the first person on there, and I always find, you know, a good experience. So I ended up meeting with, or not meeting with, have not met with, but I met someone on there. And why you had to be Haitian?
Huh?
Why he had to be Haitian? I'm like, Lord, I didn't. And this is a brand new app that I've gotten on. It's Hinge. I didn't, you know, they say it's the app designed to be deleted. So after you meet your partner, you know, it's designed to be deleted. So, you know, I didn't even know how to utilize it. You know, not to toot my own horn, but I was getting lots and lots of, like,
you get anxiety over it and you get all the pics.
I don't like doing that. I don't like those things. My girlfriend, because I'm telling my girlfriend, nobody is hitting me up on this app. I don't understand. I know I'm cute. It makes you do those kind of things to yourself. She's like, no, you're doing it wrong. I was like, oh, okay. So she walked me through. But anyways, met a guy. At first I'm like, get out of here. Like, I'm not even interested. Next. All of a sudden though, our conversation really blossomed into something great, like really cool. So, and he cute too. So, he tall. He like.
I was gonna say, how tall is he? 6'3", 6'6",
6'4", you know, whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
But
because we know you're not talking to nobody under 5'11" in the house.
You better be careful on them dating apps, man. You gonna you gonna go meet dude and he gonna look like Jerry Lewis and have some people locked away in his closet or something.
But see, this is the thing about these apps. Like, I don't go on like Tinder or whatever because I feel like it's so easy to catfish on those apps. So on these apps, they allow you to, in the app, video chat and voice note and access to your other social medias. And I'll say this also, Facebook takes from your social media itself, and that's the only way that you can do the Facebook dating app. Like that's it. So you'll know if that person is there. Now on these other apps, I don't know. And like I said, I don't last on these apps more than probably like a month. And I'll probably go back every few months.
You go and find what you need and get off.
The messages. Or sometimes it overwhelms me and I get crazy, y'all. Y'all know I already get crazy. I start like getting super crazy on these dating apps. Like, oh my God, like what would I write back? Like, hi, Merry Christmas. And it's like literally Halloween. Like weird, like just weird. And then they're like, yo, you a journalist? And then I like, so what's your last name? I don't want to give you my last name because if you Google me, you will find me. And I don't know what you're going to find. But I did.
That's right.
I Googled myself the other day and I was like, real cute with it. I said, okay. Yes, ma'am. But anyway.
I haven't Googled you.
I say that to
what comes up when I Google Rebecca?
Because when I used to Google myself, MySpace was coming up, y'all. MySpace was coming up. But he's cool. He's really cool. So I just want to let you guys know.
Look at you. Like you got a photo shoot out here.
Yeah, it does look like that because I only put up good pictures. But you know, I don't know. We'll see. But I say that to say he's just really cool. The only thing is he's so precise. Like he's so precise. And I love that. I think that's a balance for me because I'm used to like, you know, men just being like, hey, come here. And I'm like, I'm coming. And stuff like that. This one is more like, I was reading a book the other day. And in that book it said, twerk that ass, girl, twerk that ass. And I thought it was very philosophical. And I'd be like, okay, Barack Obama. But I think it's, I like him. And I don't know. No, I like him from not meeting him yet. Now, That was, so you asked me what I was doing this weekend. That was supposed to be the plan, but things came up, and good, because I was getting a little nervous, but things came up, so we might meet maybe, Sunday or whatever. I don't know. We'll see. He's vaccinated.
He's vaccinated. That's important. I just love the way you added that at the very end, so that, because you felt like that was coming up next. You felt like one of us was going to ask you if he was vaccinated. But that's good. That's good. That's so cute, Rebecca. I'm over here just blushing for you. You're so nervous, and you like.
I be a fool, but Ben, you've seen me. Like, I be a fool. I be a fool when it comes to dating.
Somebody give Rebecca a compliment, and she just like.
I go crazy. Yeah, I'm like, you're beautiful. Now, usually, like, I get hollered at by guys, and I'll be like, whatever. But if a guy really just comes up to me and like, hey, wow, I was just watching you from across the room, and I just, I'm like, not me. He was looking at me. Like, I don't really, like, I get crazy. But I get a lot of compliments. It's not the issue. It's when a man really just like be like, what's up? Like, come here, like, whatever. I'm like, oh my God, it makes me crazy.
Jeremiah, I'm on a show, buddy. Jeremiah, can you take the phone out, please? So anyway, my weekend plans are
being a dad,
kids, and birthday shopping. Got birthdays coming up. All my babies were born in the winter, so that tells you a lot about me and my wife. But they're in December, and January. December is my anniversary. 2 birthdays in December and a birthday in January. So, like, even if money was great right now, I'd still be broke, because every year we get hit across the head with all these wonderful babies that God has blessed us with. So I'm not going to complain. Those are my plans for this weekend, Rebecca.
Well, that's good. So what are you getting the kids for Christmas?
Well, we've been getting it slowly but surely. We wanted to take them off the computer. I mean, the internet is like, as much as I can guide them on the internet, the internet is crazy. So we bought them some Nintendo Switches and a couple games so that they could get all their gaming.
I thought you was like, we got them some bucks. That's where you were going with it.
We bought them some entertainment that's not just so raw access to get anywhere they want to get on the internet, right? So we're going back to like gaming systems and getting them off the web. I know that there is ability to play on the web these games, but I'm not connecting that capacity, because there's a lot of creepers out here. So
yeah, no, there really, really is a lot of creepers out here, and I'm glad that, because a lot of kids are getting like caught up in a lot of the mess, of the internets. Yeah. As
much as I can help it, and much as my wife can help it, we're gonna try to protect our kids as much as we can. I mean, you can't protect them totally
from everything,
but you also don't just throw them out there to the wolves,
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
Anyway, that's my plan. All right, folks. There was one other video that I think we wanted to show. I want to just go back real quick to our list, and then we'll get out of here. Rebecca, I know you got to go in a minute. David, what was the after party video that or was it one from the main show?
It was one from the main show. It was Young Dolph. But if we want to get later after Young Dolph, if we have time, we can do Jake Paul or Witzke.
What did you want to cover with Young Dolph? His homegoing, right? That was.
Yes, it was the pastor that preached the homegoing service. Well, I'm not going to go in on the pastor.
I already changed the subject, the title, in case we don't get to it anymore.
No, we could do it. We could play the clip. Let's play the clip of this pastor who was giving the eulogy at Young Dolph's funeral, and I don't know. It just. As he made a call for the violence in the Black community to end, he also juxtaposed the violence in white supremacy violence. Let's take a listen to the clip.
Yesterday, I was asked by one of my colleagues if we could get the hip hop community to agree to put the guns down. And I said, I'm sure we could. Ain't that right, Memphis? Then I said, and also, we need to make sure we get white nationalists and white supremacists who shoot up schools and storm capitals to put their guns down too. And we need to get police officers who shoot and kill unarmed Black folks to put their guns down too. Because ain't no Uzis made in Orange Mound, ain't no Winchester rifles made in Whitehaven, and they weren't manufacturing Dracos and Dixie homes. In order for that to happen, somebody has to write some policies. Somebody has to make some proclamations and do some political.
Let me tell you something.
Come on, Ben. I don't know what.
Listen, let me tell you something. This is why you don't. This is why. Hold on. No, I ain't going out like that. You ain't gonna take me out like that. This is why you got to listen to the whole goddamn clip. Because the B part of that clip.
Very good point.
The B part of that clip. Whew, my God. Because they ain't making no Uzis in our communities.
No, and I absolutely like that. He was like, I think he was saying, when they came up to me talking about some, Pastor, you should talk about, stopping black on black, crime and violence in the hip hop community. He was like, I can, okay. But if I'm gonna talk about that, let's make sure if we're gonna stick on the gun violence in black communities, we can't miss out of talking about domestic terrorists right here in America, the white ones, the white nationalists. So that's what I was getting from it. Come on, somebody. Pastor was speaking something right there. Pastor was speaking, and we had to hear it all. We did.
And listen, let me tell you, this is also the difference between reading the headline and hearing it. Because your boy, when I read it, and the headline stopped at white supremacists. And I'm like, what are we like? All lives mattering? Gun violence? I'm like, this don't matter. You got to hear it. You heard this man preach it. Run it one more time, because the headline didn't do the video service. Go.
Yesterday, I was asked by one of my colleagues if we could get the hip hop community to agree to put the guns down. And I said, I'm sure we could. Ain't that right, Memphis? Then I said, and also, we need to make sure we get white nationalists and white supremacists who shoot up schools and storm capitals to put their guns down too. And we need to get police officers who shoot and kill unarmed black folks to put their guns down too. Because ain't no Uzis made in Orange Mound, ain't no Winchester rifles made in Whitehaven, and they weren't manufacturing Dracos in Dixie homes. In order for that to happen, somebody has to write some policies. Somebody has to make some proclamations and do some political.
Hey, my man said ain't no Drakes in this studio. Oh my God.
He said a lot.
Ain't no Drakes being made.
Ain't no Draco. He said no Dracos.
I know, but I'm reminded of Drake when he said, I got a Drake in the studio and I ain't talking about me.
Listen, I like that when he said what he said. Oh, look, my hinge bag hit me up. But I like when he said what he said, that, it also brought in the conversation of these are policies being made.
That's right.
That's allowing these whites to do what they need to do and for guns to come into the community. It circles all back around.
Back in this damn whites.
But it's for us to, black folks, to start taking these seats. For us to start writing these policies, for us to start proclamating, So I like I like his facial expression when he was like, one of my colleagues.
It was the and also for me.
Yeah,
it was the. He said, I'm sure we can get them to put the guns down, and also,
he put emphasis on that. I said,
yeah, no.
Is there any difference between white and white?
Oh no! Yes, there's a very big difference.
Because I think every time Rebecca goes with white, I'm gonna say just as long as you know your producer is white.
Yeah, you're white. You're white.
David is white. David is white.
Now, when I say white, that's them people in the pickup trucks or those people that.
Al Rittenhouse is white.
No, there's the people in the pickup trucks with the American flags in the back.
The truck
that say
flag.
F Biden somewhere on the. On the trucks, and you got a pickup truck.
They probably got a Punisher skull with it.
Yeah, I got a pickup truck. You got a problem with it?
Where the baby gonna sit?
Baby got a seat right in the back seat. My pickup truck.
Oh, you got the ones that have those.
Oh yeah.
You got an F-150. Oh, you got money.
Look at me. That's
a large.
I got to haul stuff, man. I got to haul stuff. I got equipment to be lugging around.
That's true. Yeah. That's true. You be carrying around a lot of stuff, boy.
Okay.
Yep. Duh.
All right. Well. But there is a difference between.
Well, I be getting in trouble when I try to end the show, so I'm not going to try to end the show. Rebecca, try to end the show and see if you could do it without getting in trouble.
No, nobody cares, Ben. Nobody. They don't care today. It's Friday, and they want to go. I'm pretty sure that when I said I got to go early, they was all like, "Shit."
Yes.
Except for David.
When Rebecca said she got to go, she got to go.
Yeah, when I got to go, David be wanting to stay on forever. But
nope. I got a 45 minutes, and I got another stream.
Oh yeah, I forgot you working 2 jobs, 6 jobs. White man working hard. Okay, so
it's so good. We got a. I almost said white man, but you're not a white man. We got a hard-working white man on our team.
We do, and I love him. I really do. Listen, we are at the end of the show. Happy birthday again, Dwayne. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your weekend on your Jesus year. And if you guys haven't, make sure you bless him with something. It is his birthday.
What's that? I want to call it out. What's that Cash App, Dwayne?
Yeah.
Dwayne Gladden.
$ Dwayne Gladden.
Hey, and
y'all,
look,
the chat was throwing it up, but give Dwayne another happy birthday.
Say real quick. I've gotten a couple requests for some money. So if you really need it, send me a message and tell me why before just requesting some money, and I'll think about it. But
wait, you forgot. Look at Rebecca's face.
I ain't gonna call no names. But if you really need it, send me a message as to why, and I'll consider it. But I'm not just going to approve requests blindly.
Who is requesting money?
They're requesting your money before you even get it. God damn. Can he get it first and then I'll request it on Monday?
We are not sending the Cash App for y'all to be requesting money.
We're sending the Cash Apps because we are a working class show pulling off some miraculous stuff. And this is my boy's birthday. Y'all send that man some love.
Why y'all messing with him like that? We did not send
I don't got no problem helping people out that need it. You know what I mean? No problem at all. But I'm just not going to be hitting accept blindly just for requests for money. So.
Oh man, that is hilarious. They said it. Listen, bro.
Probably a troll.
I get requests all the time. I still got PayPal requests from some folks.
I don't be on Cash App.
You're going to get it as fast as Sally Mae gets hers.
No, I just look for the number on the bottom left because that's where you got to click on the cash out, and that's it. I don't look for nothing else. Thank you to everybody who's sending, but I don't look for nothing else. So honestly, go ahead, give your Cash App one more time for the people.
$ Dwayne Gladden. Yeah. I'll say it, man. Yep. I got you. $ Dwayne Gladden. And I ain't got no shame about this. As much money as they be sending in super chats to these white supremacists on YouTube, y'all run my team some Cash Apps and bless them on their birthday.
Period.
We appreciate it. We appreciate it. And we love y'all.
I love you. I love you guys, and I mean that. And I love all of you guys. Happy birthday, Dwayne. Listen, go enjoy your weekend, David. Ben, you enjoy your kids. And
enjoy your date on Sunday.
Yeah, hopefully
Rebecca.
I will let y'all know because I'm going to be real cute in these streets. I got to go get some new hair.
We're going to have updates on Monday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We all looking forward to it.
We'll see. I might be like,
y'all, I got Catfish by Gary Coleman.
Don't say that, Dwayne. Don't say that.
Now listen, if she come back and don't say nothing.
No, you see how he's making me like
real G's moving silence. Let's go. Yep.
That's true. He's making me blush now. So if I come back with a little attitude on Monday, don't say nothing to me. Don't ask about it. Don't do nothing. All right. Love you guys. Mean it.
Love
Bye.
it. Take care, everybody. We'll see you Monday. DJ Exclusive is back on Monday. We'll have a good time. We'll see you there.
Y'all know who it is. Y'all know the voice. Y'all know the sound. It's your boy James with DJ Exclusive in the building. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Y'all make sure y'all stay tuned, man. We got one coming up next on the Benjamin Dixon Show.
Little baddie, cashing big checks. I bought the whole block out, now that's a big flex.
No, sir, it is
Peeping out my Uber window like what's next. Got new levels and new devils out the wazoo. Ain't no worries, life gets better when you find you. And if you mind you, peace will abide and hide you until it's time to start a
Pastor Anthony Galloway, man.
Grown ain't got no curfew. Who brought the bad vibes? Tell that bitch move. Walking all in my inner, that's a bitch move. Press that I arrive.
Laura Strada, KFZ, Jeremiah, Lily, Promises Manifested, Shosty, what's going on? Tiger, what's going on, Tiger? Bunny Rabbit, I'm so high. Okay, buddy. Juanita, good morning. Jonathan, Esther, on and it goes.
Jealousy, you should subside.
Nicholas, good morning. Movie. Hey, Lou, good morning. Shay, good morning to you. Sophia Williams, good morning.
And soon you will find a pretty soul that needs more shine.